Greetings to all you Pepin Falcons, and welcome to the first edition of Math is More Than Fun. I'm your host, Mr. Newber, and we're going to be going over some fast facts in fractions, as you can see on the board. Please don't get lost in this up here. Just listen to what I have to say at the end of the video. I'm going to leave this on with some very interesting music for a couple of minutes so you can write the stuff down there. I would like you to follow along and see if you can understand what I'm saying, all right? So let's define it first. What is a fraction? The word fraction actually comes from the word fracture. Now, all of you know that if you fracture an arm or a leg, or some unfortunate person does, you don't have a bunch of pieces laying around inside the leg or the arm. No, that's a different kind of fracture. This kind of fracture is where we we look at what happens when something breaks apart into equal pieces. So as everything else in math class, it's perfect. We're only talking about things that break into equal pieces. When I'm teaching you fractions, when I'm demonstrating fractions to you for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be using pizza. And when we talk about pizza, that means because math is perfect, every single pizza is exactly the same size to the crumb, and every single slice is exactly the same size slice, or it doesn't work. All right, so what is a fraction? When you look at it, a fraction is so simple. It's two numbers with a line. That's all a fraction is. Two numbers with a line. Look, I put some examples over here. 1/2, 3/4, 5/9, 23/37. It doesn't matter to me if you can't tell me what that means. I just need you to recognize this is two numbers and a line. Two numbers and a line. A top number and a bottom number. That's all. That's all we're going to be concerned with today. Okay? Let's go to the next one here. The two numbers have a name, and it's not the same name. The top number is called the numerator. The numerator. The numerator probably comes from the word numeral, which is simply a number. It means you count things. The denominator is the bottom number. All right? So over here we have a top number and a bottom number, a top number and a bottom number, and so forth. We could spend a lot of time just putting numbers over on top of numbers, and it's a proper fraction, so as long as the top number is smaller than the bottom number, which 1 is smaller than 2, 3 smaller than 4, 5 smaller than 9, and so on, we have a proper fraction. Could it be any simpler? Here's my friend Tommy Turtle, and he's over here nodding his head. So this has got to be some of that coolest math there is. All right. So what's the big deal about the top number? Why can't the top number be on the bottom and the bottom number on the top? Because they are very different functions. The bottom number is the total parts that make up a whole thing. So I came to school and brought a pizza, and there's 8 slices in it. No matter how many pieces I ate out of that pizza on the way over to school, the bottom number is going to be 8. Because that's what we started out with. All right? The top number is a number of parts that we have on hand. So if you want to be critical and say, Mr. Newber, there's 3 pieces of pizza missing out of this pizza, I would simply ask you, how much of the pizza did I eat? So you would give me a fraction, because there's not a whole pizza in there. There's less than a pizza. The top number is the number of pieces that I ate, and the bottom number is how many were there. And if I only ate 3, it's probably because I had green lights on the way over to the class. All right, so I'm going to give you an example. I wrote it here, 2 plates. We can't do this with normal dinner plates because normal dinner plates might shatter. I have some china out in the other room, and china I'd be cleaning it up for a month. I'd find pieces of it over in the corner. But platters in restaurants, when they fall on the floor and break, and I know this from experience, they do not shatter. They break into pieces. So this, you can think of it as the shattering or the fracturing is restaurant plates. And if I drop one here and I drop one here, I'll bet you can imagine I'm not going to have the same number of pieces in this one as I do in this one. The number of pieces of that shattered platter, the number of pieces of this shattered platter, that's going to be the denominator, because that's how many pieces it takes to make an entire or a whole platter. If you want to talk about really big pieces, and we're going to count those, it might be 5 out of 12. Let's say the platter broke into 12 pieces. I can see them from here. I didn't really do that. I can see them from here. There's 12 pieces here where I dropped this platter. But the ones that have the little elephants on, I start picking those up and I put 5 of them up here. I have a fraction now. 5 over 12. I just realized this is a nice line, isn't it? 5 over 12. And that is a proper fraction. Isn't this fun? This is great. All right. So, you know where numbers come from because all of you can count. Where did the line come from? Go ahead, I'm listening. Manning, can you tell me where the, Chris Quinn, where did the line come from? Well, the line came from this. I'm taking this out in the driveway, by the way, when I get done here. All right, everybody knows, or most of you know, at least if you've been in high school math for a while, that's a division sign. And what they did, since these are actually division problems, but we're not going to get into that now, that's actually this line. The line in a fraction is actually the line in the division symbol. And we know how important math symbols are, right? Right? Kylie, what's the most important math symbol? Go ahead. I can't hear you. Oh, that's right. I'm recording this. Never mind. Okay. The most important math symbol. What's a couple of math symbols? What's a couple of math symbols? Well, this is one. That's an important one, right? This is another one. Very important. You can talk to your friends that are in algebra. That's an equal sign. That's a very important symbol. But probably in the top 3 is going to be this fraction line. It's very important. It's just a symbol. Anything in math that's not a number is a symbol for number. Even the letters of the alphabet in algebra. That's a very important symbol. So we just went over all of this, and like I said, I'm going to do, but what's really troubling me is I'd like to come up with something, because you can do that. I know you can do this. I know you can do fractions. We're going to be adding fractions and subtracting fractions. And I know you can do this because I've had all of you in class. So I'm trying to think of a way what can I offer you that would always, you'd always be able to recall what a common fraction is. And I have to come up with something. So give me a minute. I'll be right back. Well, thanks for sticking around, fellow Falcons. So I left you with how I am going to be comfortable that you are going to remember the simplest fraction. Because if you can remember the simplest fraction and how it's constructed and why the two numbers are where they are, then you should be able to take that ability and go into these other fractions and be able to work with them. So the mystery is over. The most common fraction is 1/2. And I would like to think that just about all of you understand what half means. Because it's so easy to think about. We use the word half. We cut something in half, okay? Or we split it. If I'm going to split $10 with Manning, I'm going to get 5 and he's going to get 5. So these tell me that you understand that 1/2, the most common fraction, is also the easiest thing to understand because it comes up in our vocabulary all the time. So I hope that you're able to use the information that we have here and take my example of the 1/2 1/2, one side out of 2, and take that information and be able to apply it to any fraction when later this week and into next week we start adding fractions and subtracting them, and that's just going to be a whole lot of fun. Bruno the bear, Tommy the turtle, we'll all be here, and I'll be looking for you. Bye. Okay, I'll get out of your way now so that you can take some notes and you'll be ready for next time. Bye.